third paragraph on the page, second paragraph in Ois Hey, line 17. Start explaining about again, the same theme that we were talking about the previous Maimon, about the extremes of going from the highest to the lowest levels. We find this in Nasa, and action, and before Nishma, we find this Shem Elakim, which is the one that said all the mitzvahs of Torah, etc., etc. We said that Dafka by Matan Torah was said the most simplest things, the most ordinary things, the most the type of mitzvahs, which are seemingly not such a big tumult, and still we gave it with such a big, special effects with the sounds and the noises and the fire, etc., etc., because this is where Hashem's Ratzon is Nishlam. This is where we have the Dira B'Tachtoinim, Feres Al Mashav's bias, that the Dira is not just something that is useful and beautiful, etc., but we, by us making the Dira for Hashem, so we are creating Kaviyachol, a Tiferes in Hashem, because this is what He desired. The Eibishter has a Nachas Ruach that His will was performed by us. So, in a similar vein, the Rebbe is going to go through all the different things that we mentioned about. We have the extremes between the most highest and the lowest. And one of them is the first question we had in the previous Maimer that we also mentioned over here. Nasa before Nishma, and it's Asiya, and it's the level of action. This is also preparation of Matan Torah. Was the saying Nasa before Nishma, because the preparation has to be similar to what we're bringing down. The Rebbe many times says, whatever we do now is a preparation for Mashiach's time. So therefore, since Mashiach's times there's going to be X, Y, and Z, so we have to do in the preparation similar that way. The same thing, since Matan Torah was about the idea of coming down all the way into the physical world. So therefore, in the preparation for Matan Torah, which was when the Eden said on Erev Shavuos, on the 5th of Sivan, they said Nasa before Nishma. That was the preparation for the Eibishter coming down here, to manifest himself down here in this physical world. Had to be the same thing of the bridging of the two in that preparation of them saying Nasa before Nishma. Though the giving of the Torah was in a way of being given from above, and that's also one of the reasons why it's called Matan Torah. It's the giving of the Torah. It's Hashem gave it to us. So if it's about being an inspiration from above, what does our Hachana have anything to do with it? Kolm button that Rebbe goes on and says, still in all, that in the very same measure that a person measures, in that measure he's measured back. So in other words, even though we say that it's a Elo that's coming from above, still in all, we need to do something that reflects this as well. Now the Rebbe says, playing on that Maimer Chazal, and the Chazal say, the measure that a person measures, so it's measured back to him. The word measurement usually indicates limitation, midah, limitation of measure, etc. But the Rebbe right away says that even though we're using that phrase over here, that's not what we're talking about over here. There's a measurement, there's no limitation. And Rak was only to the idea that the idea is that the preparation for Matan Torah is only associated and similar to Yisrus Tola. That's what we're using the phrase of Chazal, B'midah Shal Moeded, not to say that there's a limitation over here. Therefore, since the novelty in that which is being drawn down by Matan Torah is the fact that those below will go up above. Therefore, also in the preparation of the giving of the Torah, it matters the idea of we will do specifically. How come? Why is it so? The emphasis on we will do, and not like we mentioned before. It could have used the word nekayim and benishma and so on. Why specifically action? This means to say, this very lofty thing of prefacing and saying, we will do before we'll understand, Shua bitl balarots, and that's a bitl to the master of the will. Like we said, Shabbat Shanasa Chadim Balarots and Kniskalei, like we said before, till he becomes even one with the master of the will, meaning it's the utmost highest type of level possible. This will also be in and come down and permeate also the level of the person's power of action. Adrab, not just it also reaches the power of action, but that is the main thing. The thing that is primary and that matters over here is the power of action. Even the power of action, that is the lowest level within the person, like we mentioned earlier in the Maimer. Yev a bitl will be in a state of bitl. He is achid and balarot and become one with the master of the will. That those below will go up above. Now we can proceed also to the question, the issue that we spoke about previously as well, about Shem Elikim specifically being used as the introduction and the beginning of Matan Torah. Vayidaber Elikim. Seemingly Elikim is not the highest, most name that could have been used. So Gamash Nama. Vayidaber Elikim is called Varama Eila Labor, that Elikim spoke all these matters, saying, though the Torah is a level that comes from, that is not in the highest, most level, it's feel from the eyes of all living. They are the essential levels of Hashem's delight and enjoyment and pleasure. As we know, pleasure is the highest koyach, and this is Hashem's delight of pleasure. It's by Him, it's unique to Him, it's one with Him. Kalmakum still in all nem on Kanshem Elikim Daf gets said over here, specifically the name Elikim. Beginnas Elikim Shemoid al Helmahatz be the name Elikim that shows on the essential concealment, like we said before, that there's Elikim, the way it's Gematria Tevan, it's in this world, there's Dayanim, Malachim, but then there's the level of Shem Elikim, which is Helmahatzmi, the most highest level of concealment, the levels before the Tzimtzum, like we mentioned in the previous mind. But that's not enough. We're not just talking about the Shem Elikim that's Helmahatzmi, but we want that to come down. Nimshach Yam Elikim to come down into the ordinary, literal level of Elikim, where it's the level of Elikim having to do with nature and so on, and powers and connections with the physical world. The Inyan Zel, the Lamer, and this itself is in a way of you shall say, like we also mentioned the previous minor. That Mefarshim asked, why does it say by Dabdal Kim Iskar Barma Ela Lamer? Why does it say to say the who are they saying over to? All the neshamas of all the generations and all Klal Yisrael was there. Who are they saying over to? But rather, the meaning of the word lamer in this context is Shabachol in every single generation. Each Yisrael when a Jewish person is reading Torah or learning Torah Shvalped Mishnayos, Areu Poilos in Vaidaber Elikim. So he affects the same thing that took place by Matan Torah Vaidaber Elikim. That Hashem is reading the Torah and he's learning the Mishnah, facing him, across from him, and in the same manner it's coming down when I'm learning it now in Tavshin Pei Dalet, as it was during the time of the giving of the Torah. Therefore, for that reason, that Chazal say, just like then when a Yid was by Matan Torah, it was with awe and fear and trembling and so on. The same thing when a person sits and learns Torah now, it should be with the same awe, not just because it's something similar to, but because it's actually mimicking and it's actually the same event taking place now as then. All hidden the word lamer, because every single time we say it, we're experiencing the Vaidaber Elikim again. This is also what it says, that I am Hashem Elokecha that took you out of the land of Mitzrayim. Again, both extremes, Anoichi and Mitzrayim. The level of I, the level of Hashem's very I, this very being, this very essence, that cannot even be hinted, not in a name, not in a letter, not even in a point on top of a letter. Nasa Elekecha comes down to become your God, meaning God, your energy, your life force, your vitality, Israeli of a Jewish person, the way he's found down here in this world. We're going from the highest level of Anoichi to a Yid down here, his energy and life force in the physical world. Even to someone that is connected with the land of Mitzrayim, he's in the most disgusting place in the land, the most immoral place in the world. So a Yid, the way he's Eretz Mitzrayim, it's Anoichi. The Anoichi comes down to but so he's so embedded in the Mitzrayim, but you need to extract him from there. Even such a person that finds himself in a place of Mitzrayim, he also, what is his true power? What's his true energy and life force? That is the Anoichim. This is also the reason why the Aseres HaDibros were said very ordinary and simple matters. Seemingly, what do you need to have the big tumult, like we said before, to say, don't kill, don't steal? What's that all about? It's even such matters. There are certain things that Chazal say that if the Torah would not have been given, Rabbeim added to that. Chas v'sholom, the Torah would not have been given. So we were learned it from different animals. We were learned from ants not to steal, and we learned sneers from a cat, etc., etc. So we're talking about, it's not just simple things. It's so obvious that we would have derived it even from animals, from lower life forms we would have known about. And not only is mitzvahs included in what was given by Matan Torah, until it was also included over there, the Sheva Mitzvah Noach by Matan Torah, what's the purpose? What's the idea of the Sheva Mitzvah Noach? Sheva Mitzvah Noach is not about the godliness of it. It's mainly about maintenance. It's about maintaining the world, making sure that the world exists. Shabbos Yitzhara, like it says, that the world was formed to be inhabited, and that's the job of the Sheva Mitzvah Noach, and that's the job of the Bnei Noach, to make sure and ensure that the world is a habitable, civilized place. And that, the most basic of the basic, to make sure that the world doesn't destroy itself and run itself into the ground, that was given by the whole tumult of Matan Torah. Seemingly, why was it necessary to have the whole tumult of Matan Torah? By the way, there is also a Balaturim that said that often in Chassidus, when we talk about that there are 620 letters in the Aseres HaDibros, we say it corresponds to 613 mitzvahs plus the Sheva mitzvahs derabban. The Balaturim I saw recently says that includes the 7 mitzvahs b'nei Noach. So we see how even the Sheva mitzvah b'nei Noach is connected with the whole tumult and everything that took place by the Aseres HaDibros. And the question is, again, for such basic things, just to be able to keep the world civilized, that they don't kill each other, they don't destroy each other, that had to be all the big tumult about. But the idea is, like we mentioned earlier, Shachid is the Matan Torah, who the novelty of the giving of the Torah is. Drawing down the level of Hashem's eye, the most highest level, even in the most simplest things, even in the most lowest type of things of this world. Any questions before we? Last part of the Maimer, last line on page Yud Gimel, line 30. So now he's going to go back to the original question that he had on the pasuk Vasisa Chag HaShavuos that we asked. Why does it say Vasisa Chag HaShavuos? We want to know. They should have said, like my Sukkah says, Chag HaSukkos Tasalacha, the main thing is Sukkos, and then there's the Asiyah. Why over here do we say Vasisa Chag HaShavuos? that the main thing is the action, and then there's the Yom Tov of Shavuot. And also we asked about why is it, what's it have to do with the idea of um, seemingly Shavuos is really not any activities associated with Yom Tov of Shavuos. Shavuos is more about not doing. It's about the Isra Asiyas Malacha, nothing else. That's why it's called Atzeres. Sukkot, you have the Dal Min, Pesach, you have Matzah over there. The word Asisa is more applicable. What's the actions by Shavuos? Why does he even use the term Asiyah by Shavuos? We also asked about the idea of Mrs. Nidvus Yodcha, about how it's over the top type of giving on Shavuos that really, by other Yom Tovim, it also has to be in a way of vitur and over the top giving. But but why is that halacha primarily spoken about by Shavuos? Even though we learn not all the other Yom Tovim for Shavuos, what's the connection with the giving and Shavuos specifically? So all these things he's going to tie up now in a nice bow at the end of the night. That's what it says. You shall do and make the Yom Tov of Shavuos. That's preparation that has to be for Matan Torah. Top of page Yudal is first and foremost limser ibergem is koyach hasir shaloi to to trans to transfer, to devote one's power of action, koyach achitach, the most lowest power and, and faculty that a person has, like we said, is the power of action. The last is and to transform it and to make it into the level of the Yom Tov of Shavuos. Take your action and make it holy. Take your action and connect it with Matan Torah. It says, "Well, then I'm concerned because it says." Another question that we had is, what's it mean that you should make Chag HaShavuos to Havaya Lekecha? Like we said just now, that the Anoichi has to come down to Havaya Lekecha. The same thing over here. By day line 4, day Vasisa Chag Shavuos Nasa Havaya Lekecha, through taking your action, through devoting your power, your lowest faculties, your lowest type of power, which is action. You are making that Havaya now becomes your energy, your power, your might, your life force. Then he continues in the pasuk, the measure of the giving and the nation of your habit. The way how he's transferring and devoting his power of action. You could give some of your action to Hashem, or you could do action in a way of over the top. The devotion is complete and total. And that is expressed by the fact that the tzedakah is in a way of giving the tzedakah in an over-the-top type of manner, bringing the karbonis in a way that's over the top. This means, line 7, not just an ordinary giving of tzedakah, but rather in a way of giving it much more and over the top. So even when he gives the tzedakah even one coin, with this he gives over the life of his soul. So therefore, it doesn't have to be seemingly completely giving over the top. One coin already, Alter Rebbe says that since I was able to buy with this coin food for myself, and instead I take this coin and give it away for tzedakah, so I'm giving my life, the food, I'm giving my life away to Hashem. But it's stuck and it's grass, b'shem mitzvah stam. Stuck is called mitzvah without any appellation to it, like what the Rebbe always brings down that in the Yerushalmi. But the Yerushalmi just says mitzvah without saying and identifying what mitzvah it's talking about. It's referring to the mitzvah of tzedakah. Why is tzedakah have that type of specialness that even though it's not identified as tzedakah, as soon as you say mitzvah, that means tzedakah, which was, by the way, that I've also mentioned, which was customary in the language about how people spoke. When they referred to stuff, they referred to it as mitzvah. Why? Yosef follows Kol mitzvah because tzedakah is like a general, encompassing, reflecting of all the mitzvahs. Kedugmas Yad Yamin. The Rebbe says this is similar to what's brought down in Chassidus, that the right hand is the energy. That's the right hand. The right hand is the stronger hand, includes in it and symbolizes all the other powers and energies of the entire body. Now that is a little bit stuck in a similar vein. Tzedakah of all the 613 mitzvahs, that should tzedakah nice and biyad yamin. The mitzvah of tzedakah is like we form the mitzvah of tzedakah we give with our right hand. Biklolos kol mitzvahs, just like the right hand includes all the energies of the body, the same thing. Tzedakah is the general mitzvah of all the mitzvahs. So therefore, already, as soon as you give one point to tzedakah, you're already like over the top already by that itself. Why does it have to be in a way of vitur that we're saying misas nidbas yad chashatitein, that you just don't give the karbonas of meiser, but you add to it the karbonas of chulin, you add more karbonas than you would normally bring, or what you're obligated to in bringing. Call mutton still in all, but again, because in regards to the preparation for the giving of the Torah, it's insufficient to just give ordinary tzedakah. True, during the rest of the year, perhaps an ordinary level of tzedakah is enough. But when you're dealing with Matan Torah, it's necessary to have much more. There has to be a giving in a way of giving away completely above and beyond. Why? Like we were saying before, because you're trying to connect the lowest with the highest. We're trying to bring about that the koyach ha'asiyah, the power of action, is completely devoted to Hashem. And that comes when you're doing a mitzvah of action, of the tzedakah, the ultimate close of all the mitzvahs, in a way of giving above and beyond. Then it says the measure of your donation of your hand, instead of saying the donation of your heart. When usually when we talk about donations and giving, that has to do with the heart. Why does he use the word hand? It's also one of the questions we asked at the beginning of the Maimer. But doesn't say donation of your heart. Even since the preparation for Matan Torah has to be specifically in action, like we said before, we will do limser to devote his power of action. Therefore, the vitur and the going over the top should not only be in the heart. Yes, of course, we're doing it with the heart, but it needs to actually manifest in the hand itself. What do you mean it manifests in the hand itself? Obviously, you have your heart, so you're going to give the tzedakah. The Rebbe says an interesting thing. Even the physical hand is not an independent being. I don't feel like, well, I can choose to this, to that. My hand is like an extension of Hashem's will. The entire being of this hand is only a hand that gives out tzedakah. Remember, there's a word brought down, and again, I was not created only to serve my maker. So I remember hearing about this, that it says, doesn't mean just, a person could look at themselves like this. Hashem made me, and he asked me to do certain mitzvahs. Your hand, give tzedakah, with your head, learn Torah, with your mouth, say words of davening, whatever it is. It's not that way. It's just the way I remember hearing it from one of my shpiyim. Hashem looked in the Torah Stakel by Raisa, but only look, the Torah said, let's create the world. He said, oh, I need to have tefillin. I need to create you with a hand and a head. I need to have tzedakah. I need to give you money. I need to give you a hand. In other words, the entire being of the hand is just about the tzedakah. That's what it means, Mrs. Nidvas Yodcha, that it permeates the hand, that the hand's entire purpose is seen as just a vehicle for tzedakah. To us, when the hand sees itself as being just a vehicle for tzedakah, then he says in line 24, so then, also from the perspective of the hand, so the hand will also give without measure, not just because of the heart, he feels unlimited in his giving, but also from the perspective of the hand. Similar to what's brought down about the Arizal, and so too about other tzaddikim. He used to put his hand into his pocket. Whatever amount of money came up and out with his hand, he gave them immediately the stock without question. And the truth is, this applies to all mitzvahs in action, that the person feels that their physical body is only an instrument for that mitzvah. Like we mentioned before, it gave me a mouth because of the Torah. It gave me the head because of the oath of the Torah, the tefillin I have to put on it, and so on. Now we're going back also to the pasuk that says, "But Yitzchak gave the bracha to Yaakov, v'zel v'gam yitnu chalakim metal shemayim." This is what it said, the Elokim should give you from the dew of heaven. Shekoy al madadachim and mildach masak in Israel El is referring to someone that is putting in toil in matters of wisdom. He's toiling in Torah. Shizel boy from the Mulmatal Maila. The toil in Torah is something that's coming from below to above. The whole give and take and discussion and analysis of the Torah. This is something that the Eibishter gave Moshe Rabbeinu, and Moshe Rabbeinu shared it with us. It says that Moshe Rabbeinu added to the days of preparation of Matan Torah on his own. We were supposed to get the Torah a day earlier. Moshe Rabbeinu added another day of preparation, which indicates the preparation from below to above, that this was something that didn't come from above to below that Hashem gave us, but it's something that we gave, that we did. So too concerning everything that a diligent student in the future will come up with new insights in the Torah. That's also coming from below to above. Top of the last page that's above. Everything was given to Moshe on Har Sinai, still in all. The diligent student only draws it out of the Torah that Moshe Rabbeinu gave it. That was in a general way, and the diligent student is now mechadish and reveals this until the novel interpretation is not called Moshe Rabbeinu's novel thing. It's called Talmid Vasigos of Chadish. That this diligent student is now being mechadish. Days and through that comes about that he will give to you Elikim. That Rashi, the Chazal say, why does it say and Elikim shall give to you? He starts off a baracha and. What's the and? So for this we learn out v'yitin v'yachzer v'yitin. The and means he will give and give again. Similar to the person's Torah studies, that a person studies also in such a way. He studies and he studies again. To such degree, like we said before. Through the level of the study, he gets the Elikim. Which Elikim? He comes down to him also from this essential concealment. No eye has seen it, Elikim, except for you. In such a way that it comes down initially in the dew of heaven, which we said, or we mentioned in the earlier Maimer, the Maimer Chazal is talking about Humish, Tanakh, and the mats of the earth is talking about Tayas. Afterwards, it comes down the literal sense in the dew of heaven and the fats of the earth. The Gashmis, the physical. Until be fulfilled with the Rambam wrote. All the enjoyable things will be as available as dust. Yisrael Yask Torah Lahasik Das Boydom, and Yidden will be involved in Torah to be able to comprehend the mind of the Creator. And like it says, that the earth will be filled with the knowledge of Hashem, like the waters covers the sea. Any questions?